to discuss with you what to do when an earthbound comes into your awareness, an earthbound spirit. So this would be a human, a former human, who has expired physically, so a consciousness that is disconnected from the physical form. The body has, as we say, died, but the consciousness, the spirit, has not made its transition. It is a natural part of the path to be in the 4D after the body expires and after the consciousness separates. However, it is not natural for a spirit, for a consciousness to stay there. Essentially, we're all on our path of light, and we really, in a way, can't go completely off of it because all things work to love no matter what, period. But we do sort of stand a little more firmly on it or off of it. And a spirit that is in the 4D experience, separated from the body, and negates going over, crossing into the light, refuses the light, is temporarily, hopefully, off of their path of light. So, if we experience an earthbound spirit, aka a ghost, then the only way that we can be of benefit to them is to hold the frequency for them to connect with the path of light as soon as possible, as directly as possible, to cross over. And the way that they can benefit us, no way, because they've stepped off their path of light. There is absolutely no reason to engage or talk to or speak with or negotiate with an earthbound spirit. Unfortunately, we have TV shows like Medium and The Ghost Whisperer and whatever else in all time of entertainment where someone dies and then they come to a medium and they say, I am stuck here because I have unfinished business and I am not going to cross over until I finish the business. Incorrect. That's not how it works. I mean, they may think that and they may try, the earthbound may have that belief, but when we separate from the physical body, the consciousness is exactly like the consciousness was in the physical body. So you're just a person, or we are just a person without a body when we first pass. So just to put it a little bit crudely, as the TV shows have it, the person comes to the medium and, they're all bloodied or whatever horrifying image because they're in the state that they were when they were murdered, and they're saying, find my murderer, I can't cross over into the light until you find my murderer or until my murderer is stopped. Well, again, this is a little bit of a joke, but I'm going to put it a little crudely. If they didn't know how to not get murdered when they were alive, they don't know how to not get murdered now. Basically, they don't have more awareness in that state. They actually, what could happen is they can cross over into the light, have their healing, do their work, align back to their path of light, and then they can come back as spirit guidance. They would be orienting now from healedness. They would be orienting from light. But since they are still earthbound, it's not to say that they are bad, but they have stepped off their path of light and they have nothing to offer us. We have to offer them, like I said, holding the frequency of getting them back on their path of light. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by holding the frequency of, and the things that you can do to bring them, to help facilitate that. You can't bring them, you can't force them. They still have free will, but we can hold the space of it and we can hold the frequency of it so that they can align back to it. So basically, like I said, the earthbound has come to us. They cannot help us. They cannot solve their murder. They do not help their family. And they actually, them staying in that dimension where the fourth dimension is meant to be a portal to the next dimension, to higher dimensionality, to the path of light. It's not actually a place to stay as a former human or as a human spirit. It is just a portal. It is just a passageway. So getting stuck in the passageway by your own will is something that needs to be essentially remedied. All right, so let me just backtrack a little bit and say the reason that people do stay, why spirits stay in 4D, one of the most common reasons that a person would stay in 4D after their body dies, if they separate from the body, is that they believe in punishment. It has to do with their beliefs. They believe that there is a hell and that they're going to be punished. And that isn't true. Everyone receives healing. And so then the other reason could be maybe they don't even think of it as punishment, but they've been so conditioned out of the natural understanding that crossing into the light, and they still just have fear and disempowerment, and they're frightened when they experience it. They think they're being fooled. Perhaps they had a very disempowered life. It's always, always offered. Now, if they continue to reject it, then they stop being able to align with it and understand that it's still offered, but it continues to be offered. They just don't see it anymore. And so that is basically the simplest reason, the simplest way to state it, the reason that people don't cross over right after they die is just because of their beliefs. And their beliefs don't change. They don't gain any more perspective. They just no longer have a body. That spirit of who is the ghost or the earthbound, the former human, is meant to be in a body or meant to continue on its way to the path of light, back into higher dimensions, healing, life review, consulting with the guides, and then deciding, if they want to be a spirit guide or if they want to do some schooling, that all of that kind of stuff happens on the other side in the spirit realm. First protocol is to enact your frequency. Frequency is your feeling state. So this is my familiar. It's on Halloween, and that's my familiar kitty, my familiar spirit. Activate your frequency to understanding that you are sovereign, you have dominion, that you only experience that with which you have a like frequency. So immediately connect to love. If you connect to love, you can only experience love. Vibrate to, experience, be love. You can connect with your heart and invoke an image of something that you love powerfully. Pray to call in Archangel Michael, call in an archangel or a guardian angel or spirit guide, whomever helps you to feel empowered and remind you of the strength of your sovereignty, your empowerment. You can only experience that with which you have a like frequency. The end. Nothing, no two ways about it. And all dimensionality. So that's step one. Step two, so there you know that you are a part of it. Now, why might they come to us in an experience that is on your path of light? Well, there is an experience why they may come to you. Now, they are attracted to people because they're kind of fixated on people, even though they're no longer technically a people themselves. They no longer have a body. They are a human consciousness, no longer with a human form and in the physical. But they are still basically obsessed or fixated or kind of addicted to the physical experience. So they're paying attention to humans. And then you would be a human as a light worker who has more light. And so they understand that sorry, Con he's throwing a fit. So they understand that they can feel that you may be able to interact with them. And so they may want to interact with you because they're bored. Sometimes they're just completely mundane because they feel a little feisty and they want some negative attention, or they are lonely. If they're just a person without a body, they may be just really lonely and they don't know what else to do because things don't really work because they're supposed to have a body. Now, if they stay there for a while, they can get a little bit better, a little more savvy with manipulating energy by flickering lights and stuff like that. But for the most part, most are therefore, maybe they're not there for very long, and so they don't really know what to do, and they're not very sophisticated. And because their sophistication is supposed to be paired with a body. Second protocol is call your spirit guides. If you have an actual relationship with your spirit guides where you have, where you talk to them and you know their name, great. If you don't, that's fine. They're still there for you. Angels are still there for you. Your spirit guides are still there for you. Call them in and allow them to basically orient around you. I mean, they're not physical, but if you feel like they're standing around you, surrounding you, you could surround yourself with a column of light or with a wall of light all around so that you can feel that love and protection. Protection sounds a little bit, but the fortification of your frequency. And so call them in. And now, the thing that we can do, the reason on the path of light, the reason it would align with your higher purpose to be facilitating them is because since they have been negating light beings and the light and the angels and the past loved ones who are on the other side, who are calling them in, they're shutting that off. So you actually have the stage for them. So you can be of service. We have an anchor still in the physical body, being light in body form. And so they're paying attention to us. We may be able to help them shake back onto that path. Really, all you need to do, though, is pray. And that prayer is an affirmation, not a pleading, not something that is recognizing the lack, not fear-based. The prayer is affirming that there is a path of light for this consciousness, because there is one for every single one of us. Feeling it, imagining it, bringing your awareness to it. This isn't talking to them about it. It isn't negotiating with them. They have nothing to offer the conversation. They're out of their ilk. Their beliefs are blinding them, so they have nothing to contribute. We are lovingly recognizing their path of light. I also call in Archangel Azrael if this happens. Archangel Azrael is the one who is referred to as the angel of death. That sounds creepy and scary. It's not. It's that he actually facilitates transition, the transition process. Actually, you can call on Archangel Azrael for any kind of transition you're in, of any part of your life. It doesn't have to be just the death process. But he does help us to our consciousness is to transition from the life physical experience to the life light experience. That is really all you have to do. And if they cross over or not is none of your business. Now, sometimes we do see them and experience them crossing over, but it doesn't really matter. It isn't our business. That is what we can do. As a very, very, very last resort, what I do sometimes is I essentially hold a conference, but I don't direct my awareness to the Earthbound specifically. Like I don't negotiate with them. I don't have a conversation with them. I would say, essentially, I imagine that I'm speaking to my guides, and I say, the light has been shown to this being. The light has been shown. The ancestors have come through. The angels have come through. The light is real. The ancestors and the angels are real. Everyone has redemption. Everyone is offered healing. Everyone goes into the light and the loving, unconditional space of the all. Everyone receives healing, and it is there for everyone, and it is what every person is destined to do. I know this for a fact. Amen, and so it is. So I'm saying this aloud because they can hear us, because again, they're very much like humans, just without bodies. And I might say it aloud. I could actually just say it. I could say it almost as a prayer silently, because then my guides will be echoing it out into the field. The frequency will be reaching them on another, and on the vibratory space, which everyone is telepathic. So they'll receive the telepathic vibrations. But if you're in a space where you want to speak it aloud, you can do that. If you can't speak it aloud, that's fine. Telepathy will work just fine. And that's basically it. Now, I have had animals who sometimes haven't crossed, and that when the animals don't cross, that usually has to do with some kind of interaction from a human, a human having beliefs that have hooked in with the animal and created a bit of kind of neurosis, or maybe sometimes mental illness, but just somehow gotten them off of their path, They're very easy to cross over. I'm not as concerned about, I would actually speak with an animal because I trust them more, because even in an earthbound state, they're much more oriented to divine. But I would just be very much in my knowing about it and essentially command it to them. But again, I don't even think that is necessary. You can just put that one way back on the maybe. Maybe I'll have a conversation with my guides, affirming aloud or telepathically that the light is offered to this person and the truth about the light, and that there is no punishment, there's only healing. But prayer works. Prayer works every time, and it isn't our business to experience how it literally will work for that consciousness. But if we're being brought into it, it's because we are capable to facilitate them with our awareness by offering the frequency back to their path of light. So this is what we do if we encounter an earthbound.